Well, howdy. Let me tell you about the Active Badge project here at Olivetti Research in Cambridge. Now, the Active Badge project is one of a number of projects we have here which deal with location of personnel and equipment to generate information which makes it possible for computer and communication systems to be easier to use. Now, active badges are personal devices like this one, which we wear. They transmit and receive in the infrared spectrum to transceivers, base transceivers such as this one. And this information makes it possible to define infrared cells which correspond to working spaces. So let's start off with the hardware, and my colleague Tom Blackie will describe the components that make up the Active Badge system.
There are two main components to the Active Badge system: sensor receivers and active badges. Each active badge contains infrared transmitter diodes, infrared receiver, two push buttons for signaling information back to the system, two visible LEDs to provide status information to the user, and a piezo ceramic sounder for sounding, signaling information such as basic paging.
Now, the Active Badge information is made available to everybody throughout this organization. And one of the systems it's available on is the Unix system. And here is my Unix window, X window, which shows what's going on in the company right now. So here is a list of all the individuals here, our visitors today. So for example, my colleague Mark Chopping is shown as being on extension 434. This column indicates whether he's moving or not. The 5 asterisks mean that all the recent sightings have been in one place, so that he's static, and in fact he's in my office right here, right now. Mike Adelsey is shown as being away. It is possible to put your own string, your own little words over here, and so it shows that he's not here right now. Other columns indicate the actual position, and other regions indicate what's happening to Olivetti research personnel, what's happening to visitors. I can also click on an individual. I'll click on myself, and it shows that Andy Hopper is at a gathering, in fact, with the film crew and 1 or 2 others, as you would expect, and also shows the various methods of communication that can be used to get hold of me, and my particular list of away entrants. Now, the information for our organization is made available throughout, but we also have sightings come from the computer laboratory, and there they have to be individually authorized. So here is a list of the computer laboratory personnel who appear on the Olivetti research screen and who have authorized sightings in this way. Now I can show you the university screen. Here it is. I've logged onto a university computer, and these are the university people who are currently using the system over there, and I can show you that on their screen the Olivetti personnel is the number of people is much smaller. Now, we are very interested in what the effect of making sighting information available elsewhere is, and in particular we have integrated this with the Unix finger command on a machine, and so essentially worldwide my position, my active badge information, Andy Hopper is in this office plus my telephone number, is made available to any Unix user around the world. Now, making the badge information available to everybody in this organization has totally transformed the way we behave, because you no longer walk down the corridor to see somebody who's not there. That's absurd. You no longer telephone somebody who's not there. That's absurd. More subtly, you don't call somebody who is in circumstances where you might disturb them. But in a way, the most important thing is that for the normal telephone calls which come into this building, the information is made available to the receptionist, and so calls are routed in a more sophisticated way. Distributing location information through this organization has been a big win, but we've also used the badge information in other systems. So, for example, we have a video phone system available throughout this building and to the university to some extent. And in order to video phone somebody, I type their name. So I've just typed Harter. He's one of the badge team, Andy Harter, and the video phone will be put through to him based on where he actually is, rather than some other position. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Are you Andy Harter of the badge team?
Yes, I am, and here's my badge. Prove it.
Very good. So what's happened here is that we've controlled video phones using active badge data. Anyway, over to you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Another application presenting location information makes use of graphics. This X-Windows application presents a hierarchical series of two-dimensional maps, and at the top level shows the centre of Cambridge. The areas with bold outlines indicate areas with active badge systems. If I select the new museum site, I see 3 areas comprising the computer laboratory system. If I further select on the tower, I see the 10 levels of the tower structure. If I select on floor 2, I can now zoom in and move around. At this level, the map is annotated with active badge sensors and active badges themselves. By using the presence of the active badge as a key, we can control access to resources. For example, I can control access to this workstation. The workstation is monitoring the location of my badge, and when I leave the room, the workstation becomes locked. When I return to the room, the workstation is unlocked. The same sort of technique can be used to give hands-free access through doors. Another application is the management of printer queues. The printer at which a document is eventually printed can be determined from the active badge wearer's location. This can be extended to provide a confidential print facility where the document only appears when the badge wearer is next to the printer. One of the problems with infrared tags is that they can be forged by recording and replay. We've been able to address this problem in the badge because it has a receive capability and an authentication function. The system can generate a random challenge to the badge, which the badge encrypts using password and the function. Since the system knows the function and the password, the identity of the badge can be verified. Another application of location information is the customization of the environment. The active badge can play a key role in intelligent building services. For example, air conditioning, lights, vending machines, and even telephones can be configured as a badge wearer approaches them.
So what of the future? Well, we've been most taken by this do-nothing technology. So we're going to label all equipment. Everything that moves in this building will be labeled. And we'll see what new applications come about as a result of that. And in the longer term, we think of something called the active office environment. And in this environment, I would like computer and communications systems to be personalized for me. So I would like to walk up to a computer and I'd like the badge to identify me to that computer and for my user interface to be automatically put up on that computer. And similarly with the communications infrastructure, whether video phones, video mail, telephone, whatever, what is available is automatically made known to the system, and when a user makes a call, the best possible fit is made available to them.